Hi, my name's Scott Roemermann. I'm here today to talk to you about content marketing and specifically why quality content is not enough. I believe there's a misconception in digital marketing industry that if we just produce enough quality content, whatever that is, that things are going to take care of themselves in terms of our online visibility. So what we see a lot of is people sitting down, asking themselves what is quality content, getting into the creative process quite early and trying to come up with brilliant content ideas that they can then publish all over the internet without sitting down and thinking about a strategy and recognizing the need of content to achieve some other objectives. For example, we need to make sure that content is something that's in demand. Is it something that our market is looking for? Is it set up right to serve the user and the user intent in the best possible way? Is it of the right type? So for example, it's not always needed that we produce creative content. For example, if someone searches for cheap flights to London, we don't need to write a creative essay about that. Instead, we need to serve those people a list of flights to London. We need to make sure that our content is covering our full portfolio of keywords so that we perform, or the site performs, right across the long tail. And so to do that, we need to be able to speak all the different ways that our market speaks and consolidate that into a unified user intent where that's appropriate. Beyond that, we need to make sure the content is published in the right places. Importantly, we need to be able to organise the content for maximum impact. So, for example, we have content of a lot of different types and formats that are about the same topic. And from Google's point of view, we need to organise that by topic rather than by type. And finally, we need to make sure that we're very active in promoting the content as well for maximum impact. So we've come up with a content marketing model or framework here that really, I think, gives us a broader view of what content marketing can be so that we can be the David against our Goliaths in a way. We don't need to be coming up with brilliant content ideas internally. We need to be looking to the market for inspiration. And rather than believing that we need to produce reams of it, we can be far more effective with the right framework. So what we want to do is start with strategy, of course. What are the various audiences and channels that we're looking to utilize or target with this content? And related to that, what are the different content roles? So if we come over to our sales funnel here, then we can be mindful of, for example, some of our audiences might be more active in the acquisition stage of the funnel, whereas others, like budget holders, might be more targeted towards the bottom of the funnel. And related to that, we might have different content for those different audiences, and so that different content has different roles. To take that a step further, if we want to engage with visitors who have subscribed to a social media channel of ours, then we recognize the role of that engagement content is to get people to the next stage of the funnel. So that engagement content needs to be set up to drive people back to the site to try and drive a conversion. The next layer on our framework or our pyramid here is the content planning stage, where we really need to start with some thorough market research. That will be in part keyword research, but also looking to communities, to Q&A sites like Quora or even to forums to see what sorts of problems people are experiencing, what sort of content are people looking for, and we can use that as inspiration for our content planning as well as our mainstream sort of keyword research that we do as a part of our SEO work. All that then needs to feed into a solid site architecture that, as I mentioned earlier, is designed to accommodate the full scope of keywords that we're targeting. And a part of that is using the different ways that our market speaks, even though they might have a common user intent. And then also in that planning stage, we need to think about different content types as well. So how will video content and text content come together? But also, as I mentioned, we need to be mindful of informational content as opposed to transactional content. So it's not always about being very inward looking and trying to be creative in coming up with content ideas. The next step is consolidation and optimization of existing content, basically, and looking to our content archives to see what we can recycle and bring back to the site to tackle some of the keywords that we want to target with our on-site content. At that stage, we also need to be mindful of the different content types and how they cooperate or compete with one another. So, for example, CMS systems are typically built by content type. We have blog platforms, we have forum platforms, video platforms, etc. And as I mentioned earlier, we often get different content types addressing the same topic. Google likes to organize by topic, and so we need to work with that framework and get those different content types cooperating together. The next step is content creation and publishing. And here I think it's important that we're mindful about the difference between pull content, which is really more focused on our keyword research and pulling visitors to our own site, versus push content, which can be more creative. Another way to think about these is frequently asked questions are a good example of pull content, whereas should ask questions are a good example of push content. So things that we recognize our customers should be asking, but perhaps aren't. So that more creative content is excellent for pushing out through other channels rather than using that primarily to attract people to our own site. And of course, at that stage, we need to think about repurposing content as well. So if we have a great idea for a blog post or a video, can we turn that into an infographic or some SlideShare slides and get all those different content formats working together and perhaps consolidate those into one blog post? And finally, but certainly not least, we need to think about promoting our content. It's a common mistake to think if we just publish it, then the world will come knocking at our door, and it doesn't work like that, as we know. So possibilities there include outreach to blogs, if we're pursuing a guest blogging strategy. Content curation is an excellent option there. Using other people's content and pushing that out through social media channels can really help establish a relationship with our target audience. And finally, looking to social media monitoring, Quora, other Q&A sites to see what problems people are having or what questions they might have that we can answer with existing content, or that can drive our content creation work as well. And related to that, we can look at other communities external to our own and use those as a promotional avenue as well, if it's done in the right tone. Of course, we don't want to go in there and be overly salesy, but if we're honestly answering someone's questions and then linking to our content as a support to that answer, then that's a perfectly legitimate way to reach out to those communities to promote our own content. So that's it from me. I hope this framework really helps you put together a more effective content marketing strategy, and we'll talk to you soon.